Chapter 22. Augie kicked off the heavy wooden shoes, jammed his feet into his sneakers, and took off. "What are you doing?" Donica screamed when Augie burst out the door. "Don't let them see you. You'll ruin everything." The minute the reporters caught sight of Augie, of course the camera started clicking furiously, and they followed him as he ran up the street, whistling and frantically calling Turk's name. Finally, Augie caught sight of Turk, scratching under the big bush on the corner. He'd gone to retrieve the tennis ball he'd left there the other day. "There you are," said Augie, relieved. But when he reached out to grab hold of Turk's collar, the dog growled at him. Augie was stunned. Turk had never growled at him before, ever. He only did that to strangers or people he didn't trust. "What's the matter, Turkey?" cried Augie in dismay. "Don't you like me anymore?" Hot and sweaty from running, Augie reached up to scratch his head, and suddenly he understood. No wonder Turk had growled at him. He didn't recognize him. Okay, I get the message, boy," Augie said. He yanked off the red wig and threw it on the ground. Then he ripped off the ridiculous shirt, sending several of the big buttons flying. He would have taken off those silly yellow pants too, except the photographers had caught up with him, and he didn't want them taking pictures of him in his underwear. Brad was there by now, and so was LaRue, with the hideous Fuzzy under her arm. Turk, no longer confused, was barking and jumping up on Augie to lick his face. But the happy reunion between boy and dog did not last long. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Donica shouted as she pushed her way through the crowd. "I told you not to let them see you. You've ruined all our hard work. What's the matter with you? Don't you want to go to Hollywood? Don't you want to be the most famous fourth grader in the world? What is your problem, Augie Cooter? Don't you want to win?" Augie felt a monster stomach cramp beginning to rise up inside of him. The crowd grew silent as they waited for him to respond. And in the quiet, Augie finally found the answer to the question Donica had asked him so many times. "No, Donica," he said, shaking his head. "I don't want to win. You do." Donica's eyes were ablaze. "That's right," she snarled through gritted teeth. "And we made a deal, Augie Cooter. I'm your manager, and I say that we are going to Hollywood together, whether you like it or not. Now pick up your hair and get moving." Augie didn't move. "I said pick up your hair," Donica commanded, pointing at the red wig lying on the sidewalk. Augie took a deep breath. "First of all," he said, "that is not my hair. And second of all, I don't want to charve Mount Rushmore. And third of all, that bald rat over there is not my dog. And fourth of all, these are definitely not my pants." Augie stopped to catch his breath. "Are you finished?" snapped Donica. "Not quite," Augie told her. And that's when Mr. Stolinovsky's words came back to him. Not the ones about how important it was to be yourself. He'd figured that part when his own dog hadn't been able to recognize him. It was the other thing he'd said that Augie felt was just right for this occasion. "Fifth of all," he said to Donica, "I've had enough of this Hollywood hoo-ha." As the reporters scribbled notes for their final Augie Cooter stories, Turk barked happily, then grabbed his tennis ball. For the first time in days, Augie's stomach didn't ache. He actually felt happy, from the top of his head right down to the tips of his crocheted shoelaces. "Come on, boy," Augie said to Turk. "Let's go home."